Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, I'm Alena and I love Finland and talk about it on this channel. Today I would like to react to a video which I watched on Aleksi Himself channel and I found it very entertaining and interesting. This video is about the things that you shouldn't do in Finland, otherwise you will get the Finns pissed. So let's see what these things are, whether I agree with Aleksi or not, and whether those things are applicable to the Russian mentality. The first one. Don't get too close too soon.
The good old Finnish personal space.
Oh, Finnish personal space. I love this concept.
Too close too early. So when you are meeting with new person, shaking hands is fine, but
yeah, I agree.
cheek kisses, I would be uncomfortable with that.
Me too.
Know them better, then you can gradually increase like the touching game.
I want to say that I totally get this idea and I agree with it wholeheartedly, because you know there are cultures like Spanish, for example, or Italian, whether they are all emotions, and when they kiss on the cheek even a person they don't know. The French are also like this. I'm kind of suspicious about this. I don't really like this, and I also would prefer just shaking hands with the person that I meet for the first time before we have like a click or even at least a small connection. However, I should say that I hugged the Finns that I didn't know personally a few times. It was a mutual hug, but there was one thing that made this situation different, because we had connected before on the internet. So I guess the click had already happened before those meetings, and we felt that it was okay to hug each other. The second thing. Agreed to meet at 8 and the person is late. Yeah, don't be late. I get this.
The most punctual people in the whole...
It's true, I had experience with that.
That is considered rude and disrespectful, but
I understand.
that you are not valuing their time. So if you come like 15 minutes late, then it kind of implies that you just wasted 15 minutes of that person's time. So
that makes sense.
With Finns at 5, it means 5 sharp. Or if you say, let's meet around 5, that's also 5 sharp.
Interesting. This one is a trick.
Okay. And if you will be late, just let them know that, hey, this cow fell on me from the blue sky, I'm gonna be 5 minutes late, okay? And that's all.
It's a good point. This is very true. I've never had a meeting with a Finn who was late. Well, I also try not to be late, and I usually succeed. And I think that this point is very relatable to Russians. I think we are most of the time punctual, especially if it's not a close person, it's a business meeting or something like that. However, it's quite common to be a bit late if you meet a friend here. It's not a thing of habit, but it happens because you know that that person probably won't be angry at you. I mean, if you are not late for 30 minutes and longer. But yeah, Aleksi made a good point that you should just tell the person, sorry, I'm late, something happened, I'm gonna be there soon. The next point. Now I've seen Helsinki, Finland is pretty cool. Don't forget to visit outside of Helsinki. I agree.
I live here in Helsinki myself, but there are also lots of other cool cities in Finland.
Yes.
You know, like Helsinki has kind of grown into this big metropole, lots of internationality, tourists and stuff.
I totally agree, and I'm very happy that I visited more places than Helsinki. I started with the small towns close to the Russian border, and they're so cozy. I think people who go to Finland should experience them. And I have also been to Tampere and Turku, like one of the main cities apart from Helsinki, and they're also incredible. I've even had a trip to Seinäjoki and saw a more wild part of Finland. I don't say that people who live there are wild. I mean, there are no big cities there, and still the nature is so beautiful and everything is so cozy and so neat. You just experience pure bliss there. And I also would really love to go to the north one day, because without the north my impression of Finland is not full, of course. The next one. Don't judge Finns are unsocial even if they look so.
So Finns are often stereotyped.
It is a stereotype.
unsocial, non-expressive people. And why? The reason for this is that Finns are just being Finns. So we don't really express our emotions.
Yeah, I agree that Finns don't express emotions too much, but like Russians do the same. But it is a stereotype that the Finns are unsocial. I actually have met very few unsocial Finns. Usually the ones that I meet love to communicate, to talk, and to make new friends. I don't know, maybe the theory is that I attract such people because I'm an extrovert, but it's definitely a stereotype. I've met a few unsocial Finns, but they're introverts. It happens.
Hey, I was just wondering, like, how much money do you make?
Don't ask personal questions about money. I don't think that it needs further explanation because don't all cultures have this thing? I'm not sure, of course, about this, but I think it's rude to ask people such personal questions. We have the same thing in Russia, and I doubt that in any other cultures it's okay to ask such questions. Of course, if you are not close friends and it's relevant to the topic you're talking about. Don't know, but I totally agree with that. Oh, I love this one. Don't forget to take off your shoes.
This is kind of no-brainer. If you enter an apartment, house, just take your shoes off at the end.
This is so logical.
Your outdoor shoes inside would get really shitty and muddy inside, and why would you want to do that?
Exactly. I think that this rule is so common in Russia, like we always do this, and it doesn't have any logic to enter the house in dirty shoes. So when I first saw in American TV shows, for example, that they are in the house in the shoes and they don't take it off, it was such a wild thing to see. I honestly don't understand why people do this and how they handle the dirt. Maybe it's a cultural thing, but I'm glad that Finland is on the same page as Russian about this. The next one is not to litter. Finland for this.
Are super clean, super beautiful, and this is actually something that came to me as a surprise when I've been doing live streams in Helsinki, and people have always been commenting that, wow, the streets are so clean and stuff. But do you know why they are actually clean?
Because people don't litter.
So don't leave any trash in the streets. Sometimes the streets can be kind of messy after some big celebrations.
Yes.
They actually clean quite quickly, but make sure to do your part.
This was also a huge surprise for me when I saw how clean Finland is. Because I'm used to seeing garbage in the streets. I personally don't litter because I live in this place and I don't want to see any garbage lying around. But there are lots of people who don't follow these social rules and they litter, and it's so sad to see, and I just don't understand why people do this. Maybe they just don't care. I don't know. And I love that in Finland the mentality is different and people care about the place they live in. Though Aleksi mentioned garbage in the streets after some festivities, and yeah, I should say that I experienced this. It was not a festivity. I just was in Finland on Saturday night. I just happened to walk at night from Saturday to Sunday, and there was a lot of garbage because, you know, the youth were hanging out and they were drunk and they didn't care much about what they were doing. And yeah, there was litter, but in the morning it was clean again. Don't interrupt. This speaks for itself. It's rude to interrupt.
Get Finns to talk. So once you do, you better listen, because interrupting in Finnish or in Finland is kind of, well, not good.
It's a good point about making a Finn talk and then listen, because probably took a lot of effort. Again, I'm joking about the stereotype, but well, it's rude everywhere to interrupt people, so I think it's common knowledge. Maybe not for everyone. Then, topic of money, don't overly tip.
Some countries have this tipping culture where it's actually kind of rude not to leave a tip.
Yes, for example, Russia.
Because the tips are kind of built in the prices already. So you don't really have to worry about that the staff, the waiters and waitresses are not paid enough, because they get a part of their salary from tips. But in Finland you don't have to do that because the prices already include the service fee.
It's good to know this because I always wonder if I need to tip when I'm in Finland. In Russia it's a very common thing. It's considered good manners to leave tips because usually they are not included in the price. If they are, people usually write it on the menu. So since I'm used to this, I always forget whether I should leave a tip in Finland or not. Maybe one day I'll remember that I don't have to do it. Then don't be noisy, especially in public.
So it's definitely obvious how
God, I love Finland.
Calm people in their everyday life. So if you go into public places like shopping malls, public transportation, library,
Don't be loud.
don't raise your volume or your noise level, because that's gonna piss Finns off. For example, in buses and transportation, you can definitely be on the phone.
But don't raise the level like this, because that's gonna be goddamn annoying.
I was speechless for this one because I appreciate this so much in Finland. It's so not common for Russia because, again, people just don't care, especially when they're on public transport. For example, I hate if someone calls me when I'm in a bus or something like this, because I don't want to disturb other people with me talking, because they're probably not interested in what I'm talking about, and I try to speak not very loudly. But it seems like most of the people just don't care. Maybe I should have been born Finnish because I hate loud noises from other people. I mean, like in public, something that irritates, that disturbs. I'm not talking about concerts, for example, but just in general everyday life situations. So thank you, Finland, for this.
For the last thing, I have got lots of comments from people who are kind of nervous and worrying about the fact that if they will deal with Finns or if they will piss Finns off.
I worry sometimes about that. Don't worry too much about messing up.
If you just use your common sense, you will most likely be fine. And like in many other countries,
It's pure logic.
you kind of have this like the get out of the jail free card. So if we see some foreigner make a mistake with the customs, then we think, okay, maybe he's just learning or he or she's learning and it will be fine, so don't worry about it.
Okay, I'll try to worry less about these things. But to be honest, I think that all the points Aleksi mentioned are very relatable to my mentality, to the way I think. And there won't be many problems with that. And as we can see, in some ways Russia and Finland are very close. But in some points, these two countries are completely different, and Finland definitely wins here. This was a very informative and useful video to watch, so I would like to thank Aleksi for it. Although I think that there are more social rules in Finland and things that may annoy the Finnish people, so I would really appreciate you guys to tell me about those things in the comments below, just for me not to any huge mistakes when I'm in Finland. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Like it, subscribe if you haven't already. I would also really appreciate some video ideas because I'm running out of them. So I thank you in advance for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!